Welcome back to another recording of Rogers Rules. He's Kahm Broham, and you know me, Andrew Rogers, the guy in charge, and we are having a good day. Although I'm looking outside right now, and all I hear is a semi-truck or some type of bulldozer backing up, and it's just bump, bump. So if you hear that throughout it, maybe we'll turn it into some beat. Like, there's the starter beat, and then Cam will be back in the studio.
Mixing it up, cutting it up.
That's how we do it. I think that's how Bailey does it. Torelli Beats, as he intros every one of our shows and outros. Outro. But again, lots to talk about. No one would think that on June 11th, middle of the summer, that things are actually happening. But the Stanley Cup playoffs are taking place. We talked about that last episode. The Panthers up 2-0 in that series. Kind of how I thought it was going to go. I thought this is Edmonton's turn, yes, based on who they have. But for the Panthers, they are just built better. And they took a 2-0 lead, both of those games at home. There was a point in time, and I saw this Dave Portnoy reacting to it from Barstool, that it was the beginning of the second period. The Panthers started on a power play, and yet not everybody was back in their seat yet. And for playoff hockey, that's pretty bizarre, pretty rare to see. If you're a strong hockey town, your thought process is, before puck drop, especially when your team's on a power play, to get back into your seat because something good is projected to happen. You have the advantage. Yet Florida wasn't too antsy to sit back down and see their team tee off on a power play. More power to them. The Panthers still won. They're the better team. It's what it looks like right now. But if we're going based off fan bases, Florida may not be the better fan base in terms of hockey town because Edmonton would be back in their chair to watch that thing take place. But nonetheless, the Panthers are up 2-0 in that series. Also, the Celtics up 2-0. And, I think our St. Louis boys are just carrying. The only place they didn't carry was on the football field, on the gridiron over the weekend. The Battlehawks are supposed to be hosting. They are hosting the UFL championship, at least the venue that they play in, yet they're not playing in that game. Adrian Martinez, the former Nebraska quarterback, will face off against San Antonio in that game, which that is a whole nother story. But that's just a few lead-ins to what we'll talk about today. We'll talk a little bit of the College World Series.
I think I jinxed it. Pretty much everybody that I picked to be winning is not. So
yeah, well, that makes sense. Cam, not a big sports guy. I don't know if it's a jinx or just uneducation.
Probably a little bit of both, but also if I pick it, go opposite. That's the new rule.
Hey, been there, done that. Been there, done that. I've told that to many of people. Hey, I'm not hot right now. Don't ride my sports bets. It's not going well. And sure enough, here we are again, back in that same boat. Somebody that I know is not the one to tail. That's Kahm Broham. Cam, it's good to see you, though.
Yeah, man. How are you? How was your weekend?
Your weekend was good. A little chaotic. Again, moving. So moving is never fun, never easy. But aside from that, things are good. I'm excited for the College World Series. Super Regional Baseball has been fantastic and was fantastic. We have now our official bracket for the College World Series. So book your tickets to Omaha now. Is that the way to say that? Because
make the drive. Come on up.
But again, you better be driving if you're going to Omaha, because if you wanted to fly, tickets are going to be way up.
Good luck finding a hotel room. Just get in the RV and just take the family up to Omaha.
That would be so cool. I've always wanted to road trip, and like my ideal road trip in the States would be hitting up national parks. So starting somewhere in Montana, making your way into Yellowstone and things of that nature, finding your way into Utah. Man, that would be so cool to do in an RV, but I cannot drive an RV.
You take a 3-month sabbatical from every job. Like, I'm going to go hit national parks for a while.
I can't even drive the U-Haul 30 minutes, let alone do I want to drive an RV that distance. Now, Ashley's the queen of driving big vehicles.
And she's tiny, so it makes sense. It makes sense because she's a smaller statured person. So
she has to sit on 3 different textbooks in order to reach the pedal, see above the steering wheel.
Yeah. I love driving giant vehicles, man. They're fun. As
Yeah,
long as it's
not
a
for me.
one piece, like if I'm doing a semi trailer where it has that joint where it
Mhm.
bends right at the not happening. Not gonna back that thing up anywhere. But I can drive probably a giant RV or a large van pretty well.
Last weekend, I had a buddy drive from Chicago to Dallas in the biggest U-Haul you can find. I think it's like the 26-footer
The
with
monster.
his fiance's car hooked in, like you're talking about,
yeah.
behind it. I'm like, dude, you're driving a semi. Like that,
Essentially.
you should probably have a certain license to drive something of this length.
Yeah, I can't believe they just rent that to people. Like, no, that's cool. You got it, right?
Yeah, it only has your personal belongings. Don't worry about anybody else's lives on
Yeah,
the
and the
road.
insurance, I'm sure, will cover the U-Haul company, and that's about it.
Yeah, and that U-Haul cam, I would probably make it, I don't know, 45 seconds before I hit a curb.
Just right. Oh, whoops, bam.
So my weekend was
Out of
fun
gear.
filled with moving and watching a lot of sports take place. Now we had a couple of birthday parties for the family, and those are always good. I went to the St. Louis City game on Saturday. That was a 0-0 draw. One of the
Is that
one of the
soccer?
most city soccer. One of the most boring games I've ever attended. Let me tell you my 15 seconds of thrill though in this game. It's like when you go down that final loop of a roller coaster before you end up at your destination. Well, back at the beginning when all the like air brakes start to go.
Yeah.
Hopefully you're on a roller coaster that has air brakes.
Fingers crossed.
So we bet on this guy named Leuven, spelled Lowen, with the two like colon signs above the W or O. I can't remember.
Yeah, the umlaut.
Yep. Yeah, the umlaut. That's how they call it. That's what the kids are calling it. No, that's actually what we were taught in school.
That's what old people call it.
So
young people call it the two little dots above the U.
Right. So 0-0, right? Two little dots above the U. 0-0. And Leuven has a free kick. He takes all the free kicks for St. Louis City. We bet on him to score and City to win. This guy is right outside the 18, which 18 is the big box in soccer. Right outside the 18, takes a shot, finally gets it through the wall. Took about 4 free kicks before it finally had an opportunity where it went over the wall. Cam, when I tell you how disappointing this was, he hit the post.
Of course.
Out of all things, crossbar post, like it could have just gone wide, could have gone in, hits the post.
And that was his last one?
That was his last one. It was like the 76th minute, something like that. Oh, devastation. I mean, and it was me, my brother-in-law, my brother, and our cousin all bet the same thing. Only put like $10 on it, but it was worth it, right? It's worth it for the thrill.
It's fun.
Arms are crossed. We're acting like this is like the last penalty shot you're about to take to win Game 7 of the Stanley Cup. And
are you flipping your hats inside out? Are you doing all this?
Yeah, I was doing a little bit of this, trying to stir the pot.
Yeah.
And when I tell you it was underwhelming, it sucked the air out of the room, at least out of the 4 people in row 17 off the field. Yeah, it was devastating. But we had fun. I mean, when you have $30 to win, it's life or death.
Yeah, really.
It's life or death. And I don't really understand why people put like 500,000 on games, because I put $10 and I'm like in tears leaving the building. Imagine putting $500K on something outrageous like that and not seeing it hit.
Well, yeah, you got to have it though. I mean, I don't have $500,000 to put on anything.
Okay. You got to have the money.
You got to have the money.
I didn't know if you meant like you had to have the grapes to put it on there or what.
Also true. Yeah, you got to have all of that. Confidence personified.
So that was an exciting sports move and fun-filled weekend, I would say. I'm not sure about you. I don't know if yours looked any similar to mine.
No, I had a birthday party, and then I just did a whole lot of nothing the rest of the weekend. Played my sand volleyball league on Sunday, and but yeah, other than that. But that's usually how it goes. I mean, I'm 6'5", so what are you going to do?
All you do is stand there with your arms up. You don't even jump.
Yeah, no jumping required. Boom. Done.
Must be nice.
Yeah.
Must be nice, Cam. Yep, not everybody can be you. Not everybody can have a nice beard, a nice looking body figure, nothing. No, not everybody can be you.
It's great to be a freak of nature.
What I would never know what that feels like. I would never know what it feels like.
Yeah.
I know.
We'll figure it out.
You look like you just got done chopping wood before we started this podcast.
I am the lumberman, yeah.
So, speaking of lumbermen, And I don't know if we can ever transition this way, but baseball.
I can't wait to hear it. Yeah.
But they use metal bats, so I couldn't really transition that as well as I wanted to. I think college baseball maybe should start using wood bats eventually, because that's what they're transitioning into. And at what point do you make that transition? Is it high school to college? Is it college to MLB? But in Major League, or in college baseball, I should say, the amount of runs that are scored, and I know a lot of runs are scored in Major League Baseball too, but the ball just flies off of these guys' bats. I mean, the kids in college today are the same size as the young pros, the same exact size. They may not have the experience to see 97-mile-per-hour pitches or have the ability to know what that next pitch is just yet, but they're pretty close. And these guys are raking. You could be down 6 runs going into the 9th and know that all 6 balls off the bats of your next 6 batters are going to leave the yard.
Now, is there a specific reason why that is? Why they use
metal
bats and not?
No, I think it's just what it's always been.
Okay.
Now they've made it to where you have to use a certain bat. Like when in high school we had to use BB core bats, and that lowered the pop on what a normal aluminum bat that would be made. They're all made just differently with different materials, so it allows for more pop, less pop, and that's when you get into the rolled bats versus non-rolled bats, and the rolled bats always go further, and it's a whole thing. It's a huge rabbit hole to go down, and you know me, a big rabbit hole guy.
Yeah.
But I don't actually know what bat is allowed in college, but it is a certain it has certain requirements of what it has to hit, because if it doesn't hit those requirements, then you can run the risk of being tossed, being called out, whatever it is.
Well, yeah, I just didn't know. I'd heard that for years, the aluminum versus wood thing, but I just didn't know if there was a specific reason behind it, or if it's just, hey, once you get the pros, you can finally do some wood bats.
But I'll tell you, Clemson didn't move on. Clemson did not make the College World Series. They are not heading to Omaha. But they had a game in Game 2 against Florida where their center fielder not only made a game-saving hit, 2 on, 1 out in the 9th, hits a 3-run bomb to tie the game at 9, but then in the 10th inning makes a game-saving catch, which may be the best catch I've ever seen. It may be
jump off the wall type of thing, or what?
So he was playing shallow because runners were on first and second with 2 outs, and he was playing the single. So if a ball was hit up the middle, he wanted to make sure he could have a throw at the plate. Now, when he was playing shallow, the ball was hit over his head, and now he's got a longer way to go get it. So his path to the ball is basically back to ball the whole way. He's not really seeing it. He's looking over both shoulders. Kahm, he tracks this ball. He jumps. He knows his own ballpark. This is Clemson's home ballpark. He jumps basically right at the start of the warning track, catches the ball in a basket, doesn't even catch it in his glove. It's more like he's catching a football over the shoulder, hits the wall, makes the catch, game's extended. Best catch I think I've ever seen. Unbelievable. That video is up on Hurrdat Sports if you want to see it on all social channels. It is an unbelievable play. I haven't seen, people compared it to Willie Mays. It's better than the Willie Mays catch. I think it can become more iconic too, because now Willie Mays is Willie Mays, so that's why that catch is so ridiculous. But this play, if it would have resulted in a Clemson win, would have gone, I think, even further. But because they lost that game and people considered it not even mattering, that play can live on its own. You have to celebrate that type of play. Players
did it make the top 10?
Yeah.
It had to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, had to.
I didn't watch top 10, but it did. I don't even have to verify that. It's on top 10. It's probably the number 1 play. And if it's not, shame on ESPN. That play was unreal. His name also Kahm Canarella, sophomore. Yeah. He's going to do some big things for Clemson next year, maybe even the year after if he chooses to stay his whole college tenure. He's a fun player to watch, but I so wish Clemson could have pulled that one out and maybe advanced, because I would have loved to see him in person when the College World Series starts this weekend into next week. That bracket out, like I said, let's go ahead and give a little foresight as to what people will be seeing when they attend the College World Series, which, side note, CWS qualifier since 1999 by conference. SEC 59, ACC 40, Pac-12 30, Big 12 30, Big West 12, Conference USA 7, the WAC, the WAC 5, Independent 4, Big East 3, and Big 10 2. So that's a little bit of a rundown for people out there.
Where's the Big Ten at? They got to be there. Oh, they're at the bottom. Gotcha.
Yeah, they're way down there, Cam. And I'm going to tell you, there was a funny tweet that I saw. Somebody's like, does the West Coast play baseball? Because everybody in this field's either in the Midwest or on the East Coast. So you have UNC playing the game on Friday at 1 o'clock. They take on Virginia. The winner of that game will face off against Tennessee and Florida State. That's going to be a bruiser of a game. Both really good teams. Florida State looked dominant. Tennessee struggled against Evansville, your Purple Aces. They barely squeaked it out. Now, in the games that they won, they commandingly won. But still, the fact that Evansville took them to 3 games, Tennessee had a shot at blowing that. And then the losers bracket will move on, and that's the top bracket. Those are your top 4 teams. The bottom 4, you have Kentucky against NC State. NC State moved on over Georgia yesterday. That will be game 3 taking place Saturday, June 15th at 1 o'clock. And then the final first round matchup is Texas A&M and Florida, which we are all rooting for Florida because no one cares to see Trev Alberts in Omaha for a long time. No one cares.
Yeah, I think we're done with him, right?
He's been flicked off the state. I think he's been flicked off the stadium. I don't know. I think his name's gone. Might as well be at this point. We don't need to see Trev Alberts here longer. We don't want to welcome his stay. Trev, you can join us for this weekend, and you can leave. See ya. We don't need you here anymore. We have our own guy. So there you have it. That is the College World Series field. We'll be in Omaha, Hurrdat Sports. Come check us out at the tent. We'll have people inside the stadium, outside the stadium. You will see me all week, the week of June 16th and on throughout the rest because, and the reason I won't be there this weekend, normally I would, there's something called the UFL Championship taking place. And that's taking place in my home city, St. Louis. You know the connection. We already teased it. Adrian Martinez in town for the Birmingham Stallions. They've won the last 3 years in a row, by the way. Now, Adrian Martinez hasn't won the last 3 years, but Birmingham has. The Birmingham Stallions look good. They look really good. And Adrian Martinez was just crowned UFL MVP. Now, people may be like, Andrew, you're burying the lead. He was benched in that game. And I know he was, and we'll get there. But it's not anything to be concerned about because Adrian Martinez will start the championship game. You don't crown an MVP and then say, yeah, he's actually our backup now. Like, that doesn't happen. And also, Cam, I kind of have a bone to pick with Birmingham because I really want to know the story. Although Adrian wasn't having his best game, when do you ever sit your MVP? And it wasn't even like the game was out of reach. It was 18-12 when Adrian took a back seat to Matt Corral, who, by the way, came in and threw a pick on like his second throw.
Of course he did, yeah.
Now, granted, Matt led him to a 19-0 comeback. So did that defense by holding a fat 0 on the board. But you would never see Tom Brady take a seat on the bench. You would never see Aaron Rodgers take a seat on the bench in one bad game. You'd never see the Chiefs bench Patrick Mahomes. Can you imagine watching a Chiefs game, Cam? Say it's a playoff game, right? You're playing the Buffalo Bills. It's a close game, but Patrick Mahomes has 4 picks. 4 picks in the game. Very untraditional, unfamiliar to see out of a guy like him. And you see Andy Reid bench Patrick Mahomes to play, let's just say Chase Daniels. He was there for a while. To play Chase Daniels. You would say what?
What's going on?
What the hell are we doing? That is exactly
so many words. Yeah, there'd be some other words in there, but yeah, definitely what's going on would be the sentiment.
So unless Adrian said something to the coach that warranted getting sat on the bench, I don't see a world where it makes sense. I can't have a make it make sense moment because it doesn't make any sense. And I don't think anyone can make sense of it for me.
Yeah, so injury or something just a little off color that he said or whatever it might be, or he just got the emotions got the best of him.
I can safely say this. I can safely say this though. On Twitter, there wasn't a lot of uproar. So I don't know if it was seen. I didn't watch the whole game. Like I said, I was at the City game on Saturday. So I was catching bits and pieces at the bar before the game. And then I was watching soccer the rest of the way and noticed that Birmingham came all the way back and won. But beside that, I'm like, what happened? And then I'm trying to dig up what happened and couldn't find anything that really happened. So that's why I'm in this state of mind right now of not only am I confused, I am in shock. Like it's just absolute shock.
And when in the game did they take him out?
Like right after the second half started.
Oh, he threw a pick. Second half.
Yeah, he threw a pick to open the second half, and then all of a sudden he just wasn't playing in the game anymore. And I'm like, I got asked about this a couple of times after the game on Sunday, and I'm like, I don't think it's anything to worry about. But like, I love basing I'm a very opinionated person, but I'm also based a lot off fact. And I couldn't really give people fact in that moment because I didn't actually watch minute to minute, second to second of that game. So it's hard for me to respond. But at the same time, I'm like, this can't be a position that Birmingham's in. And they're saying, yeah, it's going to be a day-to-day thing between Adrian and Matt, who's going to be starting quarterback this week. No, that's not how this works. You're not sitting the UFL MVP. He will start the game. And that's at least where I can sit confidently and say something.
Now, were they going to go to this championship game regardless? No, this was for going to the championship.
This was for going to the championship game. So they needed to win. They were down 18-12 though. Like that's a one-score game. What do we do? It's not like 28-3. And also, how about this? 28-3 in a Super Bowl. Tom Brady leads this team on a Super Bowl comeback. What if Bill Belichick would have sat Tom Brady in a 28-3 game in the third quarter?
He'd have 6 rings.
What are we doing? Like that's all I have to say. What do we do? What was said? And even if something was said, you don't sit your MVP.
Right. Or at least take him out for a couple minutes, let him get his composure, and then put him back in, not take him out for the entire second half.
Maybe fine him a little bit. The best part about the UFL is it's a game where it's a sport where it's uncensored. So you get everything. Like AJ McCarron for the Battlehawks quarterback dropped SHIT on the broadcast. Like that's just like what is commonly done. And I'm like, this is so cool. Like you just don't get this anywhere. It's
no rules football.
And that's the best part about the UFL. And it has its own fan base. By creating this narrative of we can do this and we're the only ones that are going to do this, that's how they were able to differentiate themselves from the NFL. Because for a long time it was like, what league is actually going to survive outside of the NFL? No one can compete with it. Right. But with the now I want to get this right, XFL and USFL, thank you. With those two leagues competing with one another didn't really make sense. So that when they decided to merge, it just made perfect sense because now they're working in unity with one another and you actually have a cool product that you're seeing that's completely different than the NFL and also takes place in a timestamp that the NFL is not doing anything. Outside of the NFL draft, this is what you get. And it's just a brilliant, it's a brilliant blueprint. And I cannot commend The Rock and everybody else for buying all into this. The fans are there. And I'm really curious to see how well they travel because St. Louis will still show up, even though their team isn't in there, because it's just cool to be a part of the first, right? You're a part of the first UFL championship. But I'm curious to see how Birmingham travels and San Antonio travels to see how much they actually fill up the stadium. Because if the Battlehawks were in the game, that place would be sold out. Okay. I mean, sold out so much that the upper bowl would need to be used, if not sold out. So with them not being in the game, how the response is in St. Louis and across the league, I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see Adrian Martinez in action. And I hope Birmingham comes out with a winner because, every interview is easier when the team wins. That's
right. A lot less questions to answer and platitude your way through.
So, just a lot of fun things going on this week. Also, I told you before that we are going to get to know a lot of different Hurrdat personalities. We will still do that. We had our first 4 on, but then it kind of got chaotic in scheduling. Anna Bellinghausen will be joining us next show. So you will hear from her and me about everything College World Series. We're going to talk from the places to be as a fan all the way to who we think is going to win the entire thing. And because I won't be there on the opening weekend to buy my shirt, I will give my pick at the end of that show so that you can place a futures bet on that team because, your boy Rogers is 3 for 3. We're 3 for 3.
Yeah, you are. And also, if you need me to, I can go grab you a shirt just so you have it purchased. And then
you can hold it up.
It'll welcome you in as you come to Omaha.
Beautiful. We'll make a whole video about it. I need to pull out all of my other t-shirts in the vault. I need to pull out Mississippi State, Ole Miss, then LSU, lay them all out and be like, I'm him.
And it's also like, I just see you running in slow motion towards your shirt and then you just grab it and hold it like you've never held something so tight in your life.
Yeah, my wife would be extremely jealous.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe my dog too. Who knows? But no, just a lot of fun things going on this week. A shorter show today. I wanted to make sure we could hit on those few things, but hopefully you're enjoying your lunch hour. Kahm Broham and I will be on all week next week, and let me lay this out too.
Yeah, it's a whole different schedule. We usually do the Tuesday, Thursday lives on noon, and
it's going to get confusing.
It's going to get confusing. We're all over the place. Yeah.
So keep it real. Anna and Avery will take over Friday this week. We'll still release on Thursday, but they'll take over Friday and Monday. So keep it real. We'll be on this channel. I know it's kind of like we know how that works. So you don't need to. But that's kind of like what you'll see. And then Rogers Rules will take back over once we get midweek next week. That's when Kahm and I will be back. We'll also have a special guest joining us, a mystery guest. I will tease that. And then, of course, the championship show also on Saturday. So that's kind of how that works next week. It's going to be a little different. Not the normal Tuesday, Thursday action. We'll be down at the CWS. You can catch all of our coverage on Hurrdat Sports social channels. That's TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We cover all 5. We do a great job of trying to give you a little bit of everything. And that's what you'll see when we're down at the CWS. We'll have people interacting with fans at the tailgates. We'll have people inside the stadiums getting interviews, getting fan coverage from inside. It's a whole different look. And I think we've mastered it because we've been doing it for a couple of years now. We kind of know how things operate. So you can expect to get the best coverage possible by following everything on Hurrdat Sports if you can't be there. Now, I hope you're there. And if you are there, come see me. I will be out at FanFest. You'll see Kahm out there as well. We'll do some live shows from Rocco's, the home of the Jello shots.
Ooh.
And not having LSU there kind of makes me a little bit uneasy on record-breaking territory, but Kentucky is making their first ever appearance in the College World Series. So maybe their fans will travel out and be like, yeah, LSU, this is how we actually do it in the SEC.
Kentucky knows
and then they take back over.
Kentucky knows how to drink for sure.
Everybody really knows how to drink.
Yeah,
Let's be honest. Like we could have a team coming from Wyoming and they would just outdrink everybody. And it may be 4 people, but they would outdrink the world.
There's nothing else to do in Wyoming. You might as well just get drunk,
You know what? We'll do this on Thursday as well. Kahm, I'm gonna have the list of all 8 teams: UNC, Virginia, Tennessee, Florida State, Kentucky, NC State, Texas A&M, Florida. I'm gonna have the brackets at everybody's disposals. Yours, mine, and Anna's. We're going to have it in front of us. And instead of filling out the bracket like the team's going to win the College World Series, we're going to fill it out on who's going to win the Jello shots. And so we're going to say, all right, first round matchup, UNC, Virginia. Who do we think is going to put down more Jello shots? Now, teaser. Not only is this a teaser, but maybe a little bit of a tidbit, like a little side note, like a Rogers tip. We can call it. Virginia maybe put away 11 Jello shots last year. Maybe. They were the lowest of the low. So I wouldn't expect them to outdrink UNC. So that's your little play of the week, so to speak, as we break down the Jello shot challenge.
I might need to take a cruise downtown before we do that show just to see who's all in town. Just so I know what flags are waving. Like, all right, cool. There's a boatload of Kentucky out there. We're going to get some of that.
So there are the things that you can expect the rest of the week and into next week. It's going to be a lot of fun. Follow us for the College World Series, one of my favorite events of the year, and follow along in the Jello Shot Challenge. And I know you can follow the CWS Jello Shot page on Twitter. They do daily updates of what the board looks like. So you can see who is getting absolutely obliterated and who is getting obliterated by the competition. It'll be a fun week. For Kahm Broham, I'm Andrew Rogers. This is us signing off for today's show. We will see you Thursday.